Solar System. Learn more about our solar system. The Sun. Heart of the solar system. Throughout human history. It is a constant presence in our lives, casting its golden rays upon us, giving life to our world, and painting the sky with mesmerizing colors as a Overview. Diameter, 1.4 million kilometers 870,000 miles. Mass, about 1989 into 10 to the power of 30 kilograms. Distance, Earth 149.6 million kilometers. Surface temperature, 5,500 degrees Celsius. Star type, G-type main sequence star. Composition, the Sun is primarily composed of hydrogen, about 74% by mass, and helium, about 24%. Trace amounts of other elements, such as carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen, make up the remaining 2%. Metals and silicates dominated, giving rise to the rocky worlds we now call Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Farther out, beyond the frost line, where temperatures dropped, ices of water, ammonia, and methane joined the mix, allowing giant worlds to coalesce: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, the gas and ice giants. The early solar system was a violent place. Planetesimals crashed into one another, sometimes shattering, sometimes merging. Earth itself endured a colossal impact with a Mars-sized body called Theia, a collision so powerful it blasted molten rock into orbit. From this debris, the Moon was born, a companion that would shape Earth's tides and days. Meanwhile, the Sun unleashed fierce solar winds, blasts of charged particles that swept away leftover gas and dust, clearing the stage for the planets to settle into their orbits. For hundreds of millions of years, the solar system matured. The planets carved out stable paths, their surfaces cooling and transforming. On Earth, something extraordinary happened: water pooled into oceans, and within those waters, the first sparks of life flickered, simple molecules that would eventually evolve into the diversity of creatures we know today. The gas giants, with their massive gravity, became shepherds of the solar system, flinging comets and asteroids into distant orbits or swallowing them entirely, protecting the inner worlds from constant bombardment. This was the solar system's golden age, a time of relative stability that has lasted billions of years. The Sun, a middle-aged star, burned steadily, pouring energy across its 8 planets, their moons, and countless smaller bodies. Asteroids, comets, and dwarf planets like Pluto. Each world tells its own tale: Mercury, scorched and cratered; Venus, a hellish greenhouse; Mars, a rusty desert hinting at lost rivers; and the outer giants, adorned with rings and stormy atmospheres. Beyond them lies the Kuiper Belt and the Oort cloud, vast reservoirs of icy remnants stretching far into the darkness. But this stability won't last forever. The Sun, like all stars, has a life cycle, and its end will reshape the solar system entirely. In about 5 billion years, it will exhaust its hydrogen fuel. Its core will contract, heating up, while its outer layers expand, swelling into a red giant. Mercury and Venus will likely be engulfed, their rocky bodies vaporized in the Sun's bloated embrace. Earth's fate is less certain. Its orbit may widen as the Sun loses mass, but it could still face scorching heat that boils away its oceans and strips its atmosphere bare. For a brief time, perhaps a billion years, the Sun will shine as a red giant, its light bathing the outer planets in a strange, ruddy glow. Jupiter and Saturn might lose their outer layers of gas, their moons drifting free or falling inward. Then, the Sun's core will collapse under gravity's relentless pull, triggering a final burst of fusion that fuses helium into carbon and oxygen. When that fuel runs out, the Sun will shed its outer layers in a shimmering cloud, a planetary nebula, leaving behind a white dwarf, a dense, cooling ember no larger than Earth. What remains of the solar system will be a ghostly remnant. The inner planets, if any survive, will be charred husks orbiting a dimming white dwarf. The outer giants, stripped and battered, may drift on, their moons scattered or lost. Comets from the Oort cloud might still circle in the far reaches, but without the Sun's warmth, the solar system will grow cold and dark. Over trillions of years, the white dwarf will fade to black, a silent monument to a once vibrant family of worlds. And yet, the story doesn't truly end. The materials of the solar system, its atoms of carbon, oxygen, iron, and more, were born in ancient stars and will outlive the sun. They may one day drift into a new nebula, collapsing again to form a new star, new planets, perhaps new life. In the vast cycle of the cosmos, our solar system is but a chapter, a fleeting dance of matter and energy in an endless universe. Build intensity, for a billion years or so, the sun will linger as a red giant, its eerie light bathing the solar system in a surreal glow. Then, its core will collapse, pause, gravity squeezing it tight, sparking a final burst of fusion that forges helium into carbon and oxygen. When that fuel is spent, the sun will shed its outer shell in a dazzling display, a planetary nebula, a glowing shroud of gas stretching across space. What remains will be a white dwarf, slowed down, a dense, Earth-sized cinder, glowing faintly as it cools, no longer a star but a relic of one. The solar system's final act will be a quiet one. The inner planets, if any endure, will orbit this dimming white dwarf as lifeless husks, their surfaces frozen or scorched beyond recognition. The outer giants, stripped of their grandeur, might drift onward, their moons lost to the void or locked in decaying orbits. Comets from the Oort cloud could still trace lazy paths in the farthest reaches, but without the sun's warmth, the system will fade into cold, eternal night. Pause, over trillions of years, the white dwarf will darken completely, a black dwarf, invisible against the cosmic backdrop, a tombstone for a once thriving family of worlds. Yet, even in this end, there's a beginning. The atoms of the solar system, carbon from Earth's rocks, oxygen from its air, iron from its core, were born in the hearts of ancient stars and will not perish with the sun. They'll drift outward, carried by the nebula's remnants, mingling with the galaxy's vast reserves of gas and dust. Billions of years from now, those atoms might collapse again into a new nebula, birthing a new star, new planets, perhaps new life forms gazing at their own skies, wondering about their origins. In the grand cycle of the cosmos, our solar system is just one verse in an infinite song, a fleeting symphony of matter, energy, and time, echoing through the universe forever. I assume you're asking for a special and rare story about the sun and earth, perhaps with a twist where one doesn't know something about the other, crafted as a 3-minute speech. At an average speaking pace of 130 to 150 words per minute, I'll use 140 WPM, a 3-minute speech is about 420 words. Below is a unique, imaginative tale with a poetic and mysterious tone, perfect for an audio delivery. I've added light annotations for pacing and emphasis if you record it. Let me know if you'd like adjustments or help turning it into audio. Long ago, before time had a name, there was the sun, a radiant giant, a golden heart blazing in the void. And there was Earth, a quiet dreamer, cradled in the sun's light but wrapped in shadows of her own making. They were bound together, an eternal dance of warmth and wonder, yet the Earth held a secret the sun could never know, a secret so rare it shimmered like a hidden star. The sun, you see, thought it gave everything, its light painted Earth's days, its heat stirred her winds and waves. It watched her bloom with forests, sparkle with rivers, and hum with life, creatures that crawled, flew, and sang beneath its gaze. I am her life, the sun declared, proud and certain, beaming brighter each dawn. But the sun didn't know Earth dreamed in darkness, dreams born in the deep, where its light could never reach. Beneath her surface, in caverns of stone and oceans of shadow, Earth whispered to herself. She cradled molten fires in her core, a glow the sun could never claim. She sculpted crystals that gleamed without its rays, and in her silence, she birthed life that thrived in the black. Strange beings of the abyss, glowing with their own faint